Have you ever wondered what is the worst punishment in history during World War I? Are you aware of the brutal torture and executions during that time? Soldiers' and civilians' punishments were horrific, from brutal physical abuse to psychological torture. Join us as we go through the depth of the past to explore some of the most shocking and unforgettable punishments of World War I. The onset of World War I was triggered by a culmination of diverse factors that have sparked other armed conflicts over time. The Great War marked an era of significant upheaval that left indelible imprints on global history, with its ramifications reverberating through decades. One of its most gruesome aspects was the meting out of punitive measures to individuals suspected to have defied military ethics, adding another layer of terror to an already grueling battle. From the views of the Central Powers and the Allies, we'll discuss some of the worst punishments. We'll delve into the historical details, including the parties concerned and the times these events occurred. We'll explore the execution of Edith Cavell, a British nurse who assisted Allied soldiers in escaping from German-occupied Belgium. Matahari's beheading, a famous Dutch exotic dancer and wealthy prostitute accused of espionage for the German army. We'll also discuss the tragic events surrounding Private Harry Farr's execution and the Irish rebels' execution. Lastly, we'll examine the use of chemical weapons during World War I, resulting in unimaginable human casualties. Part 1. Edith Cavell's execution. The execution of Edith Cavell, a British nurse who assisted Allied soldiers in escaping from German-occupied Belgium, is our first illustration. She was detained and accused of treason in 1915. She was killed by the firing squad on October 12, 1915, despite protests from the British government and people. Her passing sparked anger worldwide and solidified her reputation as a martyr and hero. Cavell's execution was a clear violation of international law, which forbade the execution of non-combatants without a fair trial. Despite this, the Germans argued that Cavell had aided the enemy and deserved to be punished. Her execution symbolized the brutality of the war and the length to which both sides were willing to go to achieve victory. Part 2. Matahari's beheading. During the Great, one of the most widely known capital punishments was on Matahari, an exotic dancer and high-class prostitute from the Netherlands. The Dutch woman was charged with espionage for the German army, an accusation she vehemently protested. Her vocal protests, however, were not enough to steer clear of the guilty verdict that led her to her death on October 15, 1917, at the hands of a firing squad. There's still a contentious debate about the conditions surrounding her situation. Some experts in history maintain that she was unjustly singled out based on her unconventional profession as a cabaret dancer. The execution of Matahari proved to be a poignant representation of the unbridled apprehension and animosity that engulfed the conflict. The pervasive terror of espionage and treason prompted anyone to rebuke individuals suspected of involvement with the adversary. The use of her occupation as an exotic performer to discredit her protestations of guiltlessness further emphasized the social prejudices prevalent during that time. Matahari's demise shed light on the unequal treatment based on gender. Private Harry Farr's execution. During the Great War, Private Harry Farr, a dedicated British soldier, suffered from shell shock while valiantly serving in the trenches. Despite the debilitating effects of his illness on his mental well-being, he was subjected to a court-martial for what was unjustly termed cowardice. Regrettably, on October 18, 1916, he faced execution by a firing squad. The tragic events surrounding Private Farr's unwarranted demise serve as a harrowing example of the inequitable treatment meted out to soldiers who suffer from mental health disorders during service, which is utterly unacceptable in the vastly hostile environment that was World War I. The untimely demise of Farr was a heart-rending incident that brought attention to the widespread lack of knowledge surrounding mental health concerns. The condition, formerly referred to as shell shock, presently recognized as post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, was grossly misunderstood during that period. The soldiers affected with it were frequently perceived as deficient in strength or bravery. The tragic fate of Farr served as a poignant illustration of just how deeply and devastatingly the war impacted the mental well-being of all those who were involved in it. Part 4. The Irish rebels' executions. During 1916, a significant event occurred in Dublin as a handful of Irish rebels attempted to fight against British rule by launching an armed uprising. However, the revolt was unfortunately short-lived and was promptly put down by the British forces. The aftermath of this event was marked by the apprehension and execution of various notable figures who played a crucial role in leading the rebellion, including James Connolly and Padraig Pearse. The execution of these rebels stood as an example of the harsh measures adopted by the British government in their response to Irish movements seeking independence. The somber executions occurred within the walls of Culmination Jail, a penitentiary in the Irish capital of Dublin. Heartbroken relatives of the valiant rebels watched the harrowing event. The rebellion's execution profoundly impacted Irish history, leaving a legacy of heightened anti-British sentiments. The punishment was viewed as excessively severe and unjust for individuals who had vehemently fought for Irish independence. The Easter Rising, which marked the beginning of the uprising, was a catalyst for the subsequent events that eventually paved the way for establishing the Irish Free State in 1922. This pivotal moment in Ireland's history was transformed, marking a significant shift in how its people were perceived and radically shaping its political trajectory. Part 5. The use of chemical weapons. The utilization of chemical weapons during World War I is a topic that warrants discussion. To gain the upper hand in combat, both opposing sides relied on various gases to overpower their enemies. Unfortunately, the deployment of such lethal weaponry resulted in unimaginable human casualties. Individuals exposed to these noxious gases suffered irreversible long-term health complications, exacerbating the already devastating impact of the war. Mustard gas, amongst an array of potent weapons, earned infamy for its prowess in causing severe burns and debilitating respiratory distress. This lethal chemical alone is believed to have resulted in an overwhelming 85,000 casualties during the tumultuous conflict. Employing such barbaric methods, which flagrantly violated established legal conventions, further underscores the sheer brutality of conflict in full swing. As the First World War ran its course, it became evident that the penalties were among the cruelest and harshest recorded in history. The use of violent force, persecution, and various forms of punishment was rampant during the campaign, ravaging many parts of the world. The most heinous circumstances of such punitive measures included the indiscriminate execution of civilians such as Edith Cavell and Matahari, the brutal torment inflicted on troops such as Farr, and the deployment of deadly chemicals whose impact on the human body proved to be catastrophic. As we witness these events, we're reminded of war's vast impact on individuals and their families. This further emphasizes the urgency for increased measures to shield innocent civilians and prisoners of war from harm's way. The impact of World War I wasn't limited to its immediate duration but continued to reverberate long after the war ended. The consequence of the war was felt by both the soldiers who had fought on the front lines and the civilians who had been affected by its devastating effects. The war had caused significant physical and psychological trauma, and the aftermath of this was visible for years to come. The use of chemical weapons in particular had inflicted long-term damage on those exposed to them, causing various health issues like cancer and respiratory problems that lingered on even after the war had ended. It's vital to remember the atrocities of the past and recognize the bravery of those who fought to prevent similar heinous acts from recurring in the future. Considering the lessons learned from World War I, one can note how they'd influenced modern international law and humanitarian efforts, leading to the establishment of the Geneva Conventions and the International Criminal Court. By reflecting on past mistakes and learning from them, we can strive to create a more peaceful global environment that benefits everyone. This approach highlights the importance of never forgetting the past so that we can improve and build a better future for all. The aftermath of World War I saw the founding of the League of Nations, an international body designed to prevent future conflicts and advance international cooperation, in addition to the Geneva Conventions and the International Criminal Court. Although the League's goal was eventually unsuccessful, its founding showed the growing understanding that global problems demanded global solutions, and laid the way for the United Nations establishment after World War II. We appreciate you for taking the time to research the First World War's impact and long-lasting effects. It's crucial to remember the historical lessons and pay tribute to those who sacrificed and worked for a more peaceful and just world. As we move forward, let's remember the value of world understanding, compassion, and collaboration. We can all have better futures by taking lessons from the past and cooperating with one another.